Greetings and welcome to another fashionably late review here at Words About Games. Amy here, and today I want to talk to you all about Strange Horticulture. First of all, though, I want to give some general information about the game. Strange Horticulture is developed by Bad Viking and published by Iceberg Interactive, and it was released on January 21st, 2022 on PC via Steam, Epic Games, and GOG. According to the game's store description, Strange Horticulture is an occult puzzle game in which you play as the proprietor of a local plant store. Find and identify new plants, pet your cat, speak to a coven, or join a cult. Use your collection of powerful plants to influence the story and unravel Undermia's dark mysteries. So, like every game I've been playing while I'm not so patiently waiting for Lost Ark and Elden Ring to release, Strange Horticulture was something that wasn't really on my radar, at all, before it came out and I started seeing people talking about it. But when a game describes itself as an occult puzzle game where you unravel dark mysteries and run a plant store, I mean, that's an Amy game, all right. Plus, there's a cat on the counter, and if you give him scratches whenever you want, he purrs. So, shut up and take my money, I guess. But taking all that into account, having played the game to completion over on Twitch, I think my general thoughts on the game are that it's a masterfully well put together game. I know it's only just turned February, and I've only played 3 games so far this year, but I mean, there's a good chance that I'm going to be looking at this as one of my favorites of the year. It's part mystery, part visual novel, part puzzle game, and it's all wrapped around cozy supernatural vibes. And I've really enjoyed soaking up the atmosphere in this game and the world that's been built here and the lore that comes with it. Oh, and it's got really interesting characters that I really enjoy talking to. I don't know if you're necessarily talking to them or if they're talking at you, but I've enjoyed it either way. So I'm going to start my in-depth thoughts of the game talking about plants. Wild, right? So you're in a plant shop, and the gameplay loop, the core gameplay loop is that various customers will come to you and they need something. It starts out fairly innocently, someone's having digestive issues or someone needs help falling asleep. And things do take a little bit of a darker, more supernatural turn than that. I'll get to that. But in its most basic, you need to listen to what a customer says, or what issue they have, or what type of plant they want, and then you have to identify that in a book. You get a book with information on various different types of plants, and you have to match up what the person has said with the type of plant that they're looking for. And then you have to use that information you find in the book to then find the plant. You have a shelf in the top left. You'll see it in the footage. And it's just rows of plants. And you have to figure out which plant corresponds to which book entry corresponds to what this customer is telling you. And generally there's 2 ways that you'll be identifying plants. It's either based on what it looks like, based on what someone has told you about it, for example, maybe it has thorns, or what it does. So for example, it'll help people fall asleep. And this in and of itself creates a surprisingly satisfying gameplay loop, which is really engaging and actually quite addictive. You're essentially a detective for plants. You're a plant detective. And once you've successfully identified a plant, you usually get a new page for your plant compendium that lets you identify even more plants. And it just becomes this loop and this cycle of identifying more plants, and sometimes the requests will get even more difficult. The descriptions of plants will get even more vague. So you've got to really put your plant detective skills to even greater use. And then people also start coming in with stranger requests, like a woman who's haunted by visions of a hooded figure in a jade mask with a demon standing behind them. The plants themselves will start becoming stranger. There's a plant in this game that unlocks anything. Anything that's locked, this plant just unlocks it. That's pretty weird for a plant. And then on top of this, narratives start forming. There's a narrative framing device between days, which are I guess chapters of the game, where you get short bursts of a story. But also some of your patrons will have ongoing concerns or plot lines that you'll be dealing with. And then there are a bunch of other overarching narratives involving different characters that I don't really want to describe in any way, in any specifics within a review of the game, because I don't think that would be fair on you if you then go out and play the game. Like, sometimes part of the fun of this game is the surprise of what walks through your door, and I don't want to spoil that for you by going into detail with anything like that. And there's also seemingly a lot more going on with you, the character in your shop, than just sitting behind a counter, identifying plants and scritching your cat behind the ears to hear them purr. But Strange Horticulture is densely packed with really intriguing and seemingly disparate narrative strands that all demand your attention. The first night I streamed this game, like, I streamed way longer than I was planning to, and like past midnight, which is not usually a thing that I do, because I desperately needed to see the resolution to like one specific character driven plot line. And between the two streams that I did of this game, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, the writing is this game's biggest strength amongst like a sea of strengths. The writing is across the board excellent. Like, the stories you encounter are gripping. Some of the choices that you have to face will actually give you pause for thought, or pause for thought. Get it? Because of the cat. The characters are entertaining. The pacing is really masterful. Like, as a piece of written fiction, Strange Horticulture is great, but I want to give a special shout out to the world that Bad Viking has built, because I think that's the biggest strength in as part of the writing, is the endlessly intriguing lore and world and atmosphere that Bad Viking has built in Strange Horticulture. On top of that, there's like non-plant based mysteries to solve. Like, you can explore a map to find like clues, plants, tools, other stuff that I'm not going to spoil, and you use those things to then uncover more clues, or you use clues that have been given to you or that you find to then find new places on the map to visit. And it really does a good job of expanding the boundaries of the world beyond just the plant shop where you spend the majority of your time. Like, all the puzzles and mysteries and everything, they're not too taxing for the most part, but it makes you feel really clever, because a lot of the time, like, you can uncover clues by noticing really small details, or putting some information together in a new way, or putting a clue to use in a really different way. Like, for example, there was this card I got, and it had a cross on it, and the bottom corner of it was ripped. And eventually we noticed, and I say we because, like, I normally have a no backseating rule on Twitch, but like, me and chat were kind of working together to solve some of this stuff, so I say we. We realized that if you lined the card up with a part of the map, and like the tail lined up with a part of the map, and then that showed me somewhere to go, and that made me, or us, feel really quite clever for noticing like small details. There's actually a surprisingly like huge variety of different like puzzles to solve, which keeps things fresh. Like, there's gadgets you can use, and you have to figure out how to actually use them. There's riddles to solve. If you fail too many times at figuring out what kind of plant to give to a customer, you kind of pass out, and you have to solve like one of a couple of different puzzles. It's all really cool that like it has such a variety of gameplay. Like, identifying plants is definitely the main driving force of the gameplay, and it definitely could have carried the game, but like, there's this variety that then takes it up to the next level, because you're not just doing the same thing over and over again with nothing breaking it up in between. Like, my only real criticism of the game, and it's quite a minor one, but it could be sort of an accessibility issue, is that the font of the game can be hard to read, like, especially the letters and the notes that you're given from other characters, because it's cursive, which befits the old-timey time period, but it can make words hard to make out. Like, the game lets you zoom in on anything you want, which is awesome. And then on top of that, there's also a magnifying glass, but because of the way like the joined up writing is written and presented to you in the game, like, sometimes even that's not overly helpful. Although, while we're talking about like settings in the game and like in the menu, I guess, or at least that's my mind just joined these two things up. I did really like that there was an option for the game to automatically label plants when you identify them. Like, as someone with ADHD and like really like shockingly bad memory, that really helped me a lot. Like, that I didn't have to remember to label my plants. Like, I could just have the game do it for me, but I still had to identify them first. So that was a nice touch. There's one last thing I want to shout out, and it's the cat purr. No, I'm not joking. Legit, it's the cat purr. Like, being able to give Hellebore, that's the name of the cat, pets, and hear them purr was incredibly like soothing. Like, it was really, really fantastic audio design. Like, even my Twitch chat complimented it like several times throughout my streams of the game, and like demanded that I pet the cat. Not that they had to demand very much because I was petting the cat constantly. So for my final thoughts of the game, Strange Horticulture was something that came out of absolutely nowhere for me personally, and actually really blew me away. It's got tons going for it. It's got excellent writing, intriguing mysteries that really hooked me in and made me want to see where everything was going. It's got entertaining characters. It's got a lot of satisfying puzzle solving, not just the plant stuff, but some of the other puzzles that you have to solve as well. It's got actual, honest to God detective work in there, which was really satisfying as well. And it's got an adorable kitty you can give scritches, and it follows your mouse pointer around. When you move your mouse pointer around it, it looks at it. It's a really good cat. So if you're after a cozy, narrative-driven, supernatural mystery game, like, I would definitely recommend you give this a look. This is a fantastic game. Okay, so that's going to do it for my review. If you've played Strange Horticulture, like, let me know what you thought of the game. Did you like it? Were you in the middle? Or was it something that just maybe wasn't for you? Like, leave a comment down below on the YouTube. You know where the comments are. Or hit me up on Twitter. All of that info's in the description below the video. I'm going to get out of here because I've got, like, tons more games to play and not enough time to play them. So, see you next time. Why did I do finger guns? No one can see me. What? Honestly.